unusual in that. And you said in the check check, thank you. You said in the check check there. Yes.
Mr Salmond, why do you assume that you've done so well electorally in Scotland because of your left-wing economic ticket? Didn't you do just as well because you were regarded by the Scottish people as a Scottish patriot and somebody who would always put Scottish interests first? Yeah, exactly. And what I want in a politician is a British patriot. I love this country, every bit of it, its institutions. I regard us as having given more to the world than having taken from it, its culture, its institutions, its heritage.
Who are you arguing for in this case?
I couldn't even begin.
Jeremy Corbyn? Or?
No, I couldn't even begin, like many other patriotic people in this country, to vote for Mr McDonnell, an IRA terrorist sympathiser, or for Mr Corbyn, who would never, they would never put the interests of Britain before other interests that they hold more dear to themselves.
All right. Well, I think we should let him answer that point before we go on. The remark you're obviously referring to has been much quoted. It's about time, Mr McDonnell said, we started honouring those people involved in the armed struggle. It was bombs and bullets and sacrifice made by the likes of Bobby Sands brought Britain to the negotiating table. The peace we have now is due to the action of the IRA. That's the quote.
It goes on about ensuring that we're condemning violence as well. But let me just explain that, because I think it needs explaining. In the 80s and 90s, we thought that the bombs and the bullets would continue on forever. We lost 3,000 people. I met many of their families on both sides. And in 2003, we were trying to impress upon all sides that we should sign the peace process, the Good Friday Agreement. And at one point in time, it looked as though we were going to lose the peace process. And one of the issues was that there was a potential for the Republican movement to split. And there were many that were arguing that they would continue what they described as the armed struggle. And I went out and argued for the peace process. And I made this speech to a group of Republicans because one of the problems that we had is if there was a feeling that they were defeated or humiliated, and this was on both sides, they would not stand down. So I made this speech and I urged them to put their weapons away and to participate in the peace process. And it was a difficult time. I think my choice of words were wrong. I accept that.
What should you not have said of the words you spoke?
I should not have said the issue about the honouring. I actually said afterwards that there's no cause that justifies the loss of life in this way. I said that. Yes, I did. And what I tried to do for both sides is to give them a way out with some form of dignity. Otherwise, they wouldn't lay their arms down.
But more importantly,
and can I just say this? Because this has been raised with me time and time again. I accept it was a mistake to use those words, but actually, if it contributed towards saving one life or preventing someone else being maimed, it was worth doing because we did hold on to the peace process. There was a real risk of the Republican movement splitting and some of them continue with the armed process. If I gave offence, and I clearly have, from the bottom of my heart, I apologise. I apologise. Thank you.